Thanks for staying with Bernama TV. I'm PASHA RAHIM and you're watching The World. We begin with the latest on Tropical Storm SENYAR, which is now bringing heavy rain and strong winds to parts of Malaysia. In a moment, we'll be speaking with NAZIAN ZAINAL ABIDIN, Chief Deputy Director of the National Weather and Earthquake Operations Centre at Met Malaysia, for the latest updates. Later in the program, safety activist Captain BALA joins us for more on the storm's impact, and fellow at Malaysia National Council of Professors, Prof. AZMI HASSAN, will break down the developments in the SABAH elections. Now, Malaysia is on alert as Tropical Storm SENYAR moves across the country, bringing prolonged heavy rain and strong winds. Kuala Lumpur has seen non-stop rain since last night, raising concerns about flash floods and disruption. For the latest on what's happening now and what could come next, we're joined by NAZIAN ZAINAL ABIDIN, Chief Deputy Director, National Weather and Earthquake Operations Centre, Malaysian Meteorological Department. Thanks for doing this, NAZIAN. Now, get us up to speed. What's the current status of Tropical Storm SENYAR right now, and how serious is the threat to Malaysia at this point?
Okay, hello, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today to share some information about SENYAR. Okay, Tropical Storm SENYAR has weakened and has been downgraded to a low pressure weather system. For time being, it is currently located over the central part of Peninsular Malaysia and is expected to continue moving eastward to the South China Sea. Okay, although the system is weakening, active round cloud formation persists. This may still bring periods of prolonged heavy rain, strong winds and rough sea conditions in several parts of Peninsular Malaysia, especially in Pahang and Terengganu. We expected the weather condition will be continued until 29 November 2025. For the current monitoring at 11:30 a.m. shows that heavy rain has shifted to Pahang, Kelantan and Terengganu. In the northern part and west coast states, the weather is improving. Rain is still occurring, but it is not expected to be as heavy as yesterday. So that is the current situation about the SENYAR.
Right, okay, so a system like this has never formed in the Straits of Malacca before, and the last time we had a tropical storm was in 2001. That's over 20 years ago. How unusual is this, having having happened more than 20 years ago? It shows how unusual this is, and could it happen again?
It is very unusual for a system like Tropical Storm SENYAR to form in the Straits of Malacca. This area is so close to the equator, where the winds and rotations needed to form a tropical storm are normally 2 weeks. Although it is rare, this can be happen. It has already happened. So we cannot rule out the possibility that it could happen again in the conditions, if the conditions are right. So I might say it can be happen again in the future.
Right. So would you say that the Tropical Storm SENYAR and what's happened in Malaysia since yesterday and in the coming couple of days, it's quite mild, as we don't usually face tropical storms? And if this is what we're looking at in the future, what can people do to stay safe?
Okay, people should always follow the latest weather updates. Avoid going out when it rains heavily or the wind is strong. Secure loose items at home and be careful near river or low-lying areas. And the most important part is always listen to the instructions from the authorities.
All right,
Okay.
so how often can we expect updates, and where is the fastest way for people to get reliable information? Because I think that's very, very important that we do not spread misinformation and so people do not panic unnecessarily.
Tropical storm updates are usually issued every 3 to 6 hours, depending on the situation. Since SENYAR has weakened to a low pressure system and a media statement has been released, warnings and advisory has been suspended. This is for tropical storm. Okay, but for we will continue to monitor the situation, and any update or warning, such as heavy rain, we still monitor. So the public is advised to stay prepared and remain alert to the latest weather information, forecast, advice, and our warning. So the fastest way to get reliable information is through our social media platforms such as official website, our Facebook, our Instagram, and our mobile app, My Cuaca. You can also call our hotline at 1-300-221638 because we are operating 24 hours.
All right. Just very quickly, any advice for anyone who happens to be stuck in a storm? What should they do?
Please remain calm and always follow the instruction from the authorities. I think that is the most important thing for people who get stranded or having a bad impact from this SENYAR. I think that's all.
All right, thank you so much for the updates. Now, as Tropical Storm SENYAR continues to move across Malaysia, authorities urge everyone to stay alert, follow official updates and take all the necessary precautions to stay safe. A total of 49 health facilities have been affected, with 19 of them closed and their operations relocated following floods that hit 7 states in Peninsular Malaysia. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad said based on a report from the National Crisis Preparedness and Response Centre, or the CPRC, as of 3 p.m. yesterday, 27 of these facilities continue to operate with adjustments, while 3 are not operating in Perlis. A total of 345 medical and health teams have been deployed to the affected areas. The 7 states still affected by floods are Kelantan, Perak, Kedah, Perlis, Terengganu, Selangor and Pahang, with 27,955 victims housed in 222 temporary relief centres. He said 2,083 victims have received treatment so far, comprising 376 cases of acute respiratory infection, 92 skin infections, 15 cases of acute gastroenteritis and 4 cases of conjunctivitis. Sabah, Malaysia's easternmost state and one of its most politically dynamic, is heading into a pivotal state election. Yes, Sabahans will choose their next state leaders, but the outcome could reshape national politics and redefine how the state works with Putrajaya. To help us unpack the key players, voter priorities and what the rest of the country and the world should pay attention to, I'm joined by Professor AZMI HASSAN, Fellow at Malaysia National Council of Professors. Prof, thanks for being with us. Now, for viewers who are outside Malaysia, why is the Sabah election politically important beyond the state of Sabah itself?
Well, Pasha, as you mentioned just now, the state government that will be knowing by tomorrow, I guess, by late tomorrow, it will shape the relationship between the Borneo state and also the Putrajaya. So I think it always has been like that in this particular case. So whatever the Sabah voters will choose tomorrow will shape not only in Sabah, but also in Putrajaya. So I think it is very critical, not only for Sabahan, but also for those who are in Semenanjung and also the related areas, Pasha.
Prof, how is Sabah's political landscape shaped by the local realities, and why does that make elections there very different from those in the Peninsula of Malaysia?
Yes, Pasha, it is totally different. The political scenario in Sabah and also in Sarawak, basically in the Borneo, those are Borneo states, whatever happens in Peninsula politically, it is totally different. And I'm sure, Pasha, that we learn more about Sabah, about its ethnicity, and also a lot of other things during the election day, during the campaign. But sometimes we cannot understand what the campaign is all about. Sometimes the people in Peninsula felt quite hurt when learning or listening to the campaign. But I think it is the reality. It is. I think we in Peninsula need to learn more about Sabah in this case. I think it is good that every 5 years there is a state election. We know about that. But again, I think a lot of more that we should understand why Sabahan certain particular things, about certain things that we really here take for granted. I think that's the most important thing, Pasha.
Prof, also I think it's very interesting what drives these state elections in Sabah. Now, is the elections there being driven by national political forces or by strong local parties and personalities? What are the sentiments running in the state?
I think the most important thing is it goes both ways. I think the parties that represent the local interests in Sabah, I think it is very important. Uh, Most of the parties doesn't want to show that they are on the behold, that Putrajaya is controlling Sabah in this case. So whether it's the GRS, Warisan, Barisan Nasional, they are the local parties. But somehow or other, it ties very closely what's happening in Putrajaya and also what's happening in Sabah. When you put it together, it becomes very, very volatile in this case. So I think it was both ways, Pasha. The local issues and the peninsula issues, it is totally different, but it is related to one each other.
Right. It is also very important to understand the complexities within the state. What are the key issues influencing voters in Sabah, and how do these concerns differ from those in West Malaysia?
Yeah, I think no doubt about the MA63 and also about the 40% royalty. There's a crux of the theme currently. And for the last 14 days, that was the issue that was mentioned during campaign. So I think that's why what's happening at the local level and what's happening, how Putrajaya reacts, it really come together. So talking about campaign team, I think the MA63 plus the 40% royalty, I think it is a big issue. I think that's where the local party, the level of local party have a huge advantage. But in this case, I think Putrajaya also need to demonstrate that a good relationship between the state government and the federal government is the key here. So I guess let's see what the Sabah voters think about this particular relationship, Pasha.
Right. Prof, you also mentioned the MA63. Now, that's definitely a key issue in the state. How could this election outcome affect Malaysia's federal-state relationship and also Sabah's long-standing push for greater autonomy of the state?
Yeah, first of all, I think the greater autonomy, I think the federal government has given a lot on autonomy. And recently, the Sabah Electric was put in the hand of the Sabah state government itself. So I think the relationship between the state government, how Sabah voters will elect their state government, whether they want the state government to be more friendlier with the federal government, or they want the federal government that can face in terms of contradicting what the federal government think about MA63. But I guess for the last few years, especially during the tenure of the current Prime Minister, I think a lot of discussion has been made and a lot of, I think, leeways has been given. More autonomy has been given, not only to Sabah, but also to Sarawak. So I think MA63 will play a very critical role, Pasha, in this case.
Right, Prof. Could the results in Sabah shift the national political dynamics in Kuala Lumpur? Yes or no, and in what ways?
Yes, it will shift. Whether Sabah people want a state government that are friendlier towards the federal government, it will show in the result in the next 24 hours. So it will reshape how the federal government, how the peninsula political parties think about it. So I think it's very, very critical, this particular Sabah election, not only for Sabah, but for the whole, not only for the whole peninsula Malaysia, but for whole Malaysia, how the state government relate or communicate with the federal government, Pasha.
Okay, Prof, to wrap things up in one sentence, what should international observers watch for on election night to understand the real outcome?
The problem with international observer is, I think I also find it hard to understand the political things. So you cannot understand within 1 day observing the scenario. But again, I think the international observer can say that whatever the Sabah election is very fair and square. That's the only thing that I can say regarding the international observers, Pasha.
All right, thank you so much, Prof, for helping us unpack the dynamics of this critical election. Now, as Sabah goes to the polls, the stakes are high, not just for the state, but for Malaysia as a whole. From local issues to national implications, the results will offer important insights into voter sentiment and the future balance of power. I'm off for a very quick break now, but stay with me. Up next, Captain Bala joins us. This is The World on Bernama TV.